Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar, The Impact of Emerging Technology on Skill Requirements, What to Watch Out For. I'm Antonia, Annual Programs Officer at Eco Institute of Technology, and it's always exciting and a pleasure to be your host. And of course, I'll be your host for today. In today's fast-paced technological landscape, industries are undergoing a profound transformation, and so are the skills required to excel. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2025, which is really just like few months away, 50% of all employees will need reskilling as technology continues to advance. This presents both exciting opportunities and significant challenges for professionals and organizations. Today, we're opportuned to have two industry leaders who will share their insights and experiences with us on this crucial topic. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, please. All right, so I have with me the amazing Mr. Femi Akin Laguda, who is the Director of Enterprise and Strategic Partnership at Max. I also have the remarkable Tolu Olagun, who is co-founder, CEO, and CIO at CredPal. Together, they will share their insights on how technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain, and the Internet of Things are not only reshaping traditional roles, but also creating new job opportunities. They will also provide practical strategies for staying relevant and being indispensable in the ever-evolving workplace. Well, we will conclude today's session with an interactive Q&A session as always. So please free in whatever aspect of today's webinar to just drop your questions on the chat, whether you're viewing from the Zoom platform or you're watching from the YouTube platform, just use the chat box, the comment section. We would read those questions, we'll bring them to our speakers, and they will do justice to it. So without further ado, let us dive into the panel discussion. Okay, so which do I do first? Should I introduce our guest or should I tell you the objective for today's webinar? Well, as you know, we're just going to be giving you insight on how to better position yourself for the future, right? And for you to be the best of you and take advantage of the changes occurring in our world. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me start with Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi, it's a pleasure to have you on call today. Thank you so much. We're so excited, and I'm sure our audience are also excited to have you on call today. All right, so I'll just be reading Mr. Femi's citation. As you well know, we always love giving honor to whom honor is due at Eco Institute of Technology. Mr. Femi is a seasoned expert in mobility scale-ups, bringing a wealth of experience and strategic insights to his role as Director of Enterprise and Strategic Partnerships at Max. With a deep understanding of the mobility sector and a proven track record in recognizing and capitalizing on emerging opportunities, Mr. Femi is a crucial asset to Max's ambitious growth trajectory. Before joining Max, Femi honed a strategic acumen at Bolt, where he played a significant role in scaling operations and driving market expansion across Africa. His experience with Bolt and other notable ventures has equipped him with a keen eye for identifying potential partnerships and avenues for growth, which he now leverages to position Max for robust international expansion. At Max, Femi's responsibilities include forging key partnerships that align with the company's mission of revolutionizing mobility across Africa. His expertise in enterprise strategy and partnership development is instrumental in ensuring that Max remains at the forefront of innovation in the mobility sector. By building strong alliances and exploring new markets, Mr. Femi is driving Max's vision of transforming transportation and creating sustainable value for all stakeholders. Femi's leadership is marked by a commitment to excellence, a passion of innovation rather, and a strategic approach that prioritizes long-term success as Max continues to expound its footprint across Africa and beyond. Femi's contribution will be pivotal in shaping the future of mobility on the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the one and the only Mr. Femi Akinlaguda. Mr. Femi, over to you. Would really like to hear from the horse's mouth. Just tell us more about yourself and the amazing thing that Max is doing in the continent of Africa.
Hi, Antonia. Good afternoon, good evening. That was an extremely uncomfortable compliment. uh, um, Someone really likes me to have written that nice of an introduction. I'm really honored. Thank you very much for having me today. Obviously, my name is Femi. Please feel free to call me Femi. The introduction was kind of just speaking about my background, but a quick couple of notes that might not be in there. I started my career in technology, so I had my first degree in information and computer technology from the University of Ghana. And initially thought I was going to be an engineer. Tried that out for like a year and a half. Realized I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and made the pivot into business analysis and eventually into core business leadership over the last 12 plus years of my career. Worked across a variety of sectors, the majority of which over the last, I think, 8, 9 years has been mainly mobility based, which was obviously overlapping between Bolt and Max. But I've also worked in fintechs, I've worked in hair and beauty, which might sound weird, but about my time in that space. I've worked in utility companies and so on. So I have experienced a variety of industries and how strategy is implemented across and quite uniquely in all those in all those sectors. But yeah, today I'll be hoping to share a bit of my experience around building great teams, finding the right skill sets, and especially for the next 5, 10 years in the mobility industry in general, but mainly the tech sector. What kind of skills that are going to be fundamental to actually continue to grow in Africa. Thank you very much, Antonia, for the lovely welcome.
Thank you so much. So much. Thank you. All right. So I'll be going to our next speaker. Who I'm also very, very much excited to have on call today, Mr. Tolu Olagun. And I'm going to be reading his citation also. Please pardon me if I don't pronounce your name properly. Native names are kind of like a tongue twister for me. I'm working on it. All right. So Mr. Tolu is the CEO and co-founder of CredPal, a leading financial technology company. Since co-founding CredPal in 2018 with his partner Olorunfemi Jegede, Tolu has played a pivotal role in driving the company's external operations and executing long-term strategies that have propelled CredPal to the forefront of the fintech industry. Under his leadership, CredPal has become a leader in providing innovative credit solutions to Africa individuals and businesses. I love the attention you're giving to the Africa market space. Okay, not to digress, Tolu is passionate about leveraging technology to create impactful solutions in emerging markets. Before founding CredPal, he co-founded Exov Technologies, a prominent technological company that continues to deliver enterprise solutions to organizations across Africa. A driven entrepreneur with a strong foundation in software development, Tolu is dedicated to mentoring and inspiring young entrepreneurs, helping them realize their dreams and reach their full potential. He constantly seeks new challenges and opportunities to positively impact society through technology and innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Tolu. Mr. Tolu, would you do us the honor to hear from you? Tell us a bit more of yourself and also the remarkable work CredPal is doing in Africa. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Like Antonia said, I'm the CEO and co-founder of CredPal, And at Credpal, we're building a company that's offering financial services to Africans, right? And we spotted a huge gap a while back, and it's the fact that a vast majority of Africans lack access to basic financing, particularly to make purchases and pay in installments, right? In developed countries, it's easy for you to buy a house, buy a car, buy a smartphone, and pay for it in monthly installments. In fact, that's the norm. But in Nigeria and most parts of Africa, people cannot do that. They have to always pay for everything in full. So we launched first as a BNPL company where we provided financing for fundamental goods, right? So which would include electronics and a couple of other things so that people will need and but were quite expensive to buy and pay for at once. But today we've gone ahead to build a much more robust financial platform that offers not just credit, also savings and other features that allows a customer to overall have a much better financial wellness, So for us, we call our company Financial Wellness Company, where we're trying to help you, improve your financial welfare, so to speak. And personally, myself, I studied electronics engineering. Ideally, I should maybe be working on electronics, but my passion has always been in building software. So right from when I was in university, I'd been building softwares. I'll say even from my secondary school, like I was president of the computer club in secondary school, right? So building software has been my passion, and over the course of my career, I built a lot of softwares for both banks and even educational institutions at the early part of my career. Before I decided to go on to build Exalt Technologies Limited, which then became a very, very prominent tech company that offered those services at scale, to organizations, and later co-founded Credpal. And aside from my passion of building, I'm also very keen on developing the ecosystem in general. I'm passionate about building the next set of entrepreneurs, being able to share my experiences with both people who are willing to come on the journey of entrepreneurship and particularly people who want to work, in technology companies, right? Because technology is fast evolving. It's become a very integral part of our lives. And I hope I'm able to take some of my experience and learnings, and impact people today on how to better upskill themselves and improve their careers by leveraging new and emerging technology, and most importantly, being able to create a future-proof career where they're able to keep up with the times and be more useful to the entire world in general, with their skills. Yeah, so I'm eager to get on this and share a lot and also answer questions that come up. Thank you very much for having me.
You so much. Thank you so much for we are so honored to have you. So for those trying to log in, I'm getting like some prompts of people saying they're trying to log in and they're having issues. You can use the Zoom YouTube you can stream on YouTube and share the link with your friends. And we'll try to reshare the link again so that you can try. Maybe there was an error. And thank you so much, Tolu, for that. And I especially love the fact that we're talking about technology, right? And the effect it has in upskilling. And it's so remarkable that both our speakers have like so many things in common. For one, Mr. Tolu is a software engineer, and then Mr. Femi ran away from engineering, but he's an amazing scale-up strategist. So it's so nice that you both have like an understanding of how all this works. So you're not just going to be speaking over our heads, but you're actually speaking from experience. You're speaking what you know works, and giving us strategies and insights to implement to better. And another remarkable thing I love is that the focus Max and Credpal has on the African continent is so remarkable. So we'll just jump right to the panel discussion. But just before we do that, just to set the stage for our discussion, I would like to begin with a question for both our esteemed panelists. In your experience leading innovative companies in Africa, what do you see as the most critical skill gap emerging due to rapid technological advancements, and how can professionals and organizations best prepare to bridge this gap? I know it's a bit wordy, so I'm going to be posting it on the chat, and you can always make reference to that. So who would start with? Let's start with Mr. Femi. All right, thank you, sir.
Sure. Thanks, Antonia. That's a really interesting question. Critical skill gap in Africa, fundamentally, it's really down to maybe three, four core skills that are still mainly missing, and an extra point that I'll mention later. But you're talking about mainly technical skills. So this could be technological skills, but also very specialized skills that are quite technical in nature. And there's a broad range of those skills, everything from software engineering, like Faye for example, but also skills that are more niche for in things like data science and things like understanding of large language models, which are very fundamental to this rapid revolution of AI right now. There are lots of core skills that are very technical that actually like still even though there are lots of people interested in the space, the highest quality of skill set is still not missing completely, but there isn't a lot of it to go around. And so you see companies, some of the largest companies still looking aggressively and fighting really hard on the top talent when it comes to these technical skills. Another skill that is obviously really, really important and quite challenging to find is digital and business skills in general. So basically, people with digital competency and that they are not talking about the technical skills now, but those who are just competent at using digital tools. Everyone should be able to use a spreadsheet. Everyone should be able to use a word processor. Everyone should be able to use search to do research. But you will be surprised, especially for someone like me who's been involved in a large number of interviews over the last maybe 9, 10 years. You'll be surprised the surprising lack of those like high level skills in a lot of candidates. I think the final point is probably soft skills, and this isn't unique to Africa. The right kind of personal character traits that are really essential to building great teams. They are difficult to find and they are difficult to spot correctly during interviews. And so you see companies being very working through different models to try and find people with the right soft skills that make them great collaborators to work with. And these three core skills, I think, I like the really unique skill sets that can make a candidate stand out. And we're looking at how people can prepare themselves for that. It's about finding the right opportunity to learn. I think people learn the most when they're actually doing something. Obviously, there are lots of courses out there that can equip you with the fundamentals, but I think you do your best learning when you're actually doing, and so finding the opportunity to actually do stuff in those spaces is probably the most critical one. And I can draw a direct correlation with my own career. Obviously, my training was very much technical, but when I decided to make a transition into the business side, there was a lot of work that I had to do in courses to prepare myself as an analyst, and then I had to find the right companies. The vast majority of the companies I worked with in my first 3, 4 years were very small companies, and that was because they were the kind of companies that would give me a chance to actually do those things at that very early stage of my career. And I think that's kind of like the best way to learn, at least for me personally. Obviously, people learn in different ways, but I think from what I've seen so far, when people are able to do stuff with the skills they have, they learn a lot faster and they improve much more. And obviously, getting the chance to work also gives you the chance to build your soft skills. So basically, collaborative skills. And these are really essential right now, especially in the world we live in, where distributed teams are becoming the norm, right? The more you're able to collaborate with a wide variety of people, the better you're able to integrate into global teams, the better your likelihood of being involved in larger projects and more interesting projects. But yeah, that'll be my feedback to that
Thank
question.
you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. I'd also like to hear Mr. Femi Tolu's view on it. You're muted.
Of that. Yeah, so for me, it's a very, very interesting and good question. I've in my career and particularly in building CredPal, I've seen like an evolution of um of technology in itself. And for me, like a few skills stand out, and one of them is data and analytics in itself, right? So for everyone who intends to work in a tech company, particularly, right? Having the right approach towards understanding and using data is very important, right? These days, almost all decisions, are made leveraging data, right? So being able to articulate data very well in an understandable form and the mix of it is a very, very important part. The second one will be digital literacy, which Femi touched on. Generally being able to understand and work with digital tools is very, very important, in this generation, right? Because for most of what your work, you're going to be working particularly with digital tools, particularly. The second part of it will be AI and automation. Now, this has been my biggest passion for the past, I'll say 3 years, right? Before AI became a big thing, right? The people are all talking about now. I've always believed very much in automation. And automation in the sense that, for everyone building a company, right? The ability to scale your company, it doesn't rely on you being able to hire a lot more people, but rather being able to run efficiently such that for every little input you make into your company, you're getting like 100x or 10x or 1000x of that output, right? So efficiency is a very, very strong hallmark of an high performer, right? And one of the biggest tools that helps efficiency is automation. So being able to understand how artificial intelligence, which is a big thing now, and automation generally can really help your career is super important. Like today, I told my developers that if you're not using AI to program, you are doing something terribly wrong. For me, I wish I had AI when I started programming, right? I've done a whole lot of great and fantastic stuff. Today I still program, but I use AI because I can't go through the pain of starting over from scratch, right? So I just go into my code and use AI to create better code and more code, right? So I always say this, right? For every for everyone working now, but let me tech company, you must understand and appreciate how to use AI, right? And I'll give an assignment to everyone on this call. I'm sure all of us use at least one form of AI chatbot today, either ChatGPT, or Gemini, or I think a Copilot by Microsoft, right? Ask a question, tell the chatbot what your career is, and ask it that how can I leverage AI, right, to further help my career? What can I do with it? And then get the answers from it. I think that would be a very good step if you haven't done it already to kind of like see how you can better leverage AI. But I think AI is a very, very strong and powerful tool that everyone, should leverage now. And the last part will be cybersecurity in general. Working in a financial institution, right, has made me see that one of the biggest gaps that is emerging right now. So the way tech is evolving, that's the way fraud is also evolving, right? And cybersecurity are evolving. So you working in a tech company, you should also increase your awareness of risks, mostly around cybersecurity and fraud, right? So it's very helpful if you can also upskill a bit in terms of even basics are okay, right? How do I prevent cybersecurity? How do you pay more attention to how your passwords are managed? How do you spot different trends that could potentially expose the company, right? Because in our company, we've seen exposures come from even interns, right? So like you don't have to be a tech, you don't have to be a programmer or a software developer to get exposed, and get attacked, right? Even an intern could put an exposure to the company. So it's important, like I said, that we also take cybersecurity very, very importantly. But in general, I always tell people, I tell my team members this, you need to always look for what tools. And this has to happen I'll say every single quarter, right? Look for what tools can further help make your career better. Look for what skills can help make your career grow. Because ultimately, no matter who you're working for, right? At the end of the day, the biggest benefactor of your work is you. Because all what you learn, all what you do is to help you along your career, right? It's always going to take it along with you. So upskilling is a very big one for me, and most importantly, for everyone to understand what they need to do. But in general, those three things, data, AI, and cybersecurity would take the top for me in terms of what you should upskill in, particularly if you want to keep up with the trends right now, and most importantly, also protect yourself from risk along the line. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we're on to a fantastic start to the program. Mr. Femi told us the importance of continuous learning, and he did give like a personal example how he keeps on improving himself. And Mr. Femi told us, I've never thought of that prompt before. He actually gave all of us assignments. He said to prompt whatever AI you're using. I think the prompt you gave us was inform your chat box what exactly your career path is currently, and then how to better position yourself, in paraphrasing what you said.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll give us the cheat code.
I'll also give that later. Second.
All right, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting sweeter and more exciting. I will be asking Mr. Femi the first question, and whatever session of today's webinar, if you have a question, just kindly drop the question in the chat box. We would attend to you. So going to Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi, Max is building Africa's largest mobility tech platform, providing commercial drivers with vehicle subscriptions for high performance and low emission vehicles. How has this innovative approach changed the skill requirements for your workforce, from tech development to operations and also to customer services?
Thanks, Antonia. Obviously, mobility tech has come a long way in the last maybe 6, 7 years. Max has been involved. Max is in his ninth year at the moment, and the last 4 or 5 years in particular has been where we really focused on vehicle subscription financing, and the work that we've done over the last couple of years has been um, honestly nothing short of amazing, because in West Africa, Max is pretty much the leader in the mobility space, and across Africa, we are a very large player. But if you also look broadly across the space, a lot of companies are struggling to be successful in the mobility tech space when it comes to vehicle financing in particular. It is a very, very challenging product. As financing itself fundamentally is quite challenging, but I think mobility assets are a unique a unique case, mostly because of the kind of people that usually have to the unique circumstances of the customers that you're financing, and the ways they can both make or break your business. And I think Max has had to do a lot of things and be good at a lot of things that you wouldn't normally consider to be important to a business to have been able to be successful so far. And I think it's that's very clear focus on looking for the skill set that solve the underlying problems that have been really, really important for us. Obviously, we are constantly looking for people who have very high level skills in IoT, machine learning, automation, data analytics, engineering in general. That's a core skill that we obviously work really hard to develop within our team, a competency we work hard to develop within our team, because these are the people that help us build and keep our platform running effectively, but also ensure that we are able to have market leading numbers for the core of our business. So basically being able to finance most people effectively, being able to detect people who are most likely to default on their payments, and taking corrective actions, being able to recover vehicles. A lot of tech actually goes in there to make that really, really essential, make Max quite unique in the space, because we have really good numbers for all those trends. But I think going into, you mentioned customer service as well, and that's also one where you would normally consider the vast majority of work of customer service to be personal, to be people related, people oriented, and I think there, quite interestingly, the skill that we've realized has had the most impact actually has not been technical skills, but just empathy. People with high empathy have proven to be extremely successful in building a lot of strong relationships with our customers, be able to help them, be able to put themselves in the shoe of the customer and work actively to champion their causes in the company. And that's given us a group of people involved in customer service um, who very actively, push the perspective of the customer. So we never lose focus on that, right? And it's really for us, it's really about thinking about the customer first and always, and ensuring that we put the customer at the heart of everything that we do, and we're able to create like a truly exceptional experience for them. But yeah, those kind of have been quite interesting. I mean, that's quite interesting for me because even in my previous roles, I've been involved in evaluating customer experience teams. And I've consistently found that the most important skill set you need in that particular space is actually not technical skills. We can use technology to make the process easier and faster, and a technical team would do that. But having people who have high empathy is really amazing to help you ensure that the customer feel like you're always on their side or working for their benefit. And in the end, that's what you're in business for.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Femi. And what I can deduce from that is, and as my CEO would always say, that technology really is just an enabler. So we're talking about these things, not to scare you to feel like AI is coming for your job and it's going to make you but just to really understand the dynamics of it and prepare yourself for the future. And I do love the fact that it's about balance, right? You spoke about the customer care and how it's important for them to be empathetic, right? And how the balance for these hardware skills and software skills are very crucial for a successful career. With that, I'll be going to the next question, which I'll be directing to Mr. Feyitolu. CredPal is revolutionizing credit access in developing economies. With your buy now, pay later model, how has the implementation of these fintech solutions changed the skill requirements in your industry, particularly in areas like risk assessment, customer profiling, and financial modeling? Again, we don't just want to speak to the topic broadly, and we want people to be able to relate with it, like the daily work life cycle, and see how these little technological changes are like making impacts in the workspace. So I'll be posting your questions also in the chat box to make it a bit easier for you to reference.
Great. Thank you for that question. So I'll answer with this, right? The first product we ever built in CredPal, the very first product, right, aside from the front end of how you can accept customer request, was a loan bot, right? The idea for the loan bot was simple. We knew that we had to underwrite and do assessment for lots of customers, but we didn't want to do it manually, because doing it manually will mean that you have to spend hours on each customer request. And if you're hoping to get 1,000 customers per day, you may need to hire 100 people. And it's also very inefficient in general because human beings make mistakes, right? So we built out the loan bot, and the loan bot's goal was to automate the entire underwriting process. But then at the end of it, the loan bot then recommends the decision and says, hey, based on my analysis, this customer's income is this is a risk profile. It does all of that, right? We could profile transactions, financial transactions, know the customer's behavior, his pattern. Like we build out a lot of profiles for different types of customers. So the loan bot will recommend what to do, but a human still needs to be the one to do the final check. But at least he already has a lot of information. So what the loan bot did for us first was it allowed us to make easy no's, right? So if Lombard says no, there's a high chance that that will be a permanent no. Like no one can change that. But if he says a yes, then a human will then look at what is done and say, okay, let me see if the Lombard did a good job at that. So we built that, and this as far back as 2018, right? And it's still evolving till today, right? And so anyone coming into work, right, for CredPal needs to understand that we're a tech first company, right? Even though you're an underwriter, you have to be able to not only use tech, but also contribute towards it. And what's contributing towards going to look like in the sense that obviously the machine itself needs to learn, right? The software needs to learn, right? Being able to contribute towards the learning is also very important so that as time progresses, the machine gets smarter and more efficient. But like I mentioned, the machine will not replace the human. Rather, it's going to make the human a whole lot more efficient, right? More like creating cyborgs, in sci-fi movies where there's a man and a machine working together, right? And that really helped our risk assessments, which I think is a very, very important part of any credit business, right? The second part is on the customer service. Same thing too. About the moment ChatGPT launched, then, right? I told myself that, hey, when I saw ChatGPT, I was like, this can potentially solve a problem for me. Now, as a consumer-facing company, we have a lot of customer complaints, right? They come in every single day, and it's a whole lot. So I told myself that even though I have this pretty sizable support team, right? For most pressing, requests from customers, a lot of times they still get not properly prioritized, right? So the next thing was this same thing. I always love building stuff, right? I decided to say, let's implement a solution that would, first of all, allow us read all our customer complaints, right? And know which one should be the highest priority, which one is a customer just complaining and really has no problem, right? So we're able to kind of like, in a very smart way, analyze all our customer requests and then better optimize the support department. So the support department today in CredPal, right, are able to take on a whole lot more customer requests because there's a tool in the middle that does all of that for them, that kind of like cleans up the requests. So some customers are just asking you basic questions like, hey, I was declined for credit. That's a very simple answer. You didn't meet our requirements, right? But right now, someone has to type that every single time. The bot will take care of all that. So, right, even in customer service too, it's important. And this is where, like I mentioned earlier, being able to integrate both digital tools and AI into your work is very important. For me and for CredPower, right, we understand that customers need service and need very, very quickly. Today, I use Amazon a lot. And the reason why I use Amazon a lot for my purchases is because I can get same-day deliveries and next deliveries, right? And it's almost always never fails, right? So customers want timely delivery and a very, very responsive system. And no matter how much we try to do that using human beings, there's still going to be gaps on it. So being able to effectively integrate digital tools into your work will make you far more efficient and will prepare you for a world where your customers will want much faster and better service, right? Because at the end of the day, the customers are the ones that determine, whether or not to stay in business, right? So being able to provide better service for them is very important. So in summary, to answer the question, what we did particularly is to leverage automation and AI, first of all, to make all our underwriting fast, so customers are getting their decisions very quickly, right? And then we also made our customer service too very responsive so that at least we're able to answer customers much, much faster, leveraging AI, and the last one is on the financial modeling side. That is still it still has a bit of manual work to be done because when it comes to finances, really, you don't want to just leave all of that to a machine, right? So we still do a lot of work in terms of managing our finances using both human and tech, but the areas that enjoy the most automation today in credits in our company is largely on the risk assessment side and also on customer profiling and customer engagement part of it. And like I said, I think it's something that everyone um, should um, should imbibe, being able to leverage tech and AI particularly for their day-to-day tasks.
Thank you so much for that contribution to the discussion. Really insightful. Again, using the underwriting department at CredPal as a case study because we're talking about practicality, right? You're the co-founder of CredPal. If you were to recruit for an underwriter, and your HR brings like a couple of profiles for you to approve, what are the skills would you say you would look out for in your ideal client?
Yeah, so the first skill I look out for is data analysis, right? I always tell people, right? That you don't come to me and tell me that a lot of my customers are complaining. What's the number? What's a lot? Is a lot 900%? Is a lot 90%? Is a lot 85% or even 50%? Because in reality, 20% could be a lot based on your industry. Meanwhile, 80% could also be a lot. So data analysis is a very, very important skill set that is required because with data analysis, you are able to be very specific in addressing issues, right? Understanding that data, and like I said, the numbers don't lie. So that's going to be my first. My first one is data analysis, and it's very important in underwriting, particularly because you need to be able to understand the numbers and then know how the numbers can impact the business in itself. The second one will be around automation. So I see a lot of people use Excel, right? But Excel in itself can do a whole lot more than what people use it for. So when I assess people's automation skills, I'm not saying, hey, you must know how to do AI modeling, and all those fancy stuff, machine learning. But are you able to automate a basic Excel sheet and make it a whole lot more efficient, whereby you're able to use an Excel sheet and it's able to give you a whole lot more than just having columns and rows and doing sums or averages, right? So understanding data and then being able to manipulate data in such a way that is very efficient, particularly leveraging Excel is very important. And then having those fundamental skills makes me know that that individual will be able to evolve very quickly into more technical skill sets, right? But from the fundamental skill set that I always look out for, like I mentioned, is data analysis itself and also data manipulation. So we're able to mix the data and get a lot of results out of that data. So like the two key skill set. And the other things could come in, which are optional. But because I believe that they are teachable, I wouldn't prioritize them. Because once you have those basic skills, it's easy for us to then, increase your skills in other things like maybe machine learning, automation, and the rest of it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, listeners, you're already getting like some tips on the areas to really strategically improve yourself. And next, I'll be going to Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi, your company, Max, aims to empower 100 million Africans by giving them tools to create wealth. What emerging technologies do you see as crucial in achieving this goal, and what new skills will be required to effectively implement and manage these technologies in case you have some of your recruits on call who are hoping to beat the line? So what tips will you be giving them? What secrets would you be sharing with them?
Thank you, Antonia. So I think at the heart of it, while Max primarily does provides vehicle subscriptions right now, you have touched the heart of what the company is about, which is basically helping Africans create wealth. And today we're currently focused on providing vehicles for commercial use cases, and that's one way that we're doing that right now. But honestly, we are particularly excited about the potential of technology and sustainable methodologies to empower smallholder farmers. We do a lot of work with a couple of companies in that space around companies like Babangura, One Acre Fund. We've worked together on previous projects, and we see that as one key problem to solve. Smallholder farmers, I think at the moment, the UN estimates that there are over 30 million smallholder farmers in Nigeria alone. That's a huge opportunity that we need to create more solutions for and help them not only build their businesses, and have a livelihood, but also solve some of the food risk challenges that Nigeria and Africa has. Another key part that excites us is solving credit for small business owners. Obviously, our current customers, over 45,000 of them, they are all small business owners. It's transportation business, but they are still small business owners, and looking for more solutions to help them build those businesses are things that we are obviously constantly exploring because we want them to be more successful. And I think the final part that really excites us is the transition to clean energy in mobility. That's one that really, really burns at the heart of the company right now, because we see the continuous impact of the deregulation of the petrochemical industry in Nigeria, and how that is driving up living expenses across the board. Transportation is one that is directly impacted by the cost of fuel, and e-mobility is going to be really essential in kind of like breaking the stranglehold of fuel prices on people being able to move around. And obviously moving around is key now for a lot of commerce. So, I mean, Max already does a lot of work in that space. We currently exclusively deploy electric vehicles in Ghana, and in Nigeria. We're beginning to make a similar transition of pushing more electric vehicles into our pool to actually help our champions have the right kinds of vehicles to build their business going forward. Um, so if you look across it now, across these three areas that excites us, that I'm talking about, I think for smallholder farmers, what's really exciting for them is things around precision agriculture, climate modeling, and digital marketplaces to be able to sell their products. Those are really important to improve productivity, improve their access to markets, you know, and reliance in the face of climate change, which is a real thing. If you've been in the heat of of Nigeria recently, you know, climate change is real because the country just keeps getting hotter year on year, and that is having a direct impact on agriculture. And that's something that we kind of need to find solutions for. And for small farmers, small business owners, sorry, they need to grow their businesses. We need to create jobs. As I said, my career, the first 3, 4 companies I worked for were all really small businesses, and they gave me a great opportunity to build my skill set and try really difficult things. But either in those small businesses, being able to create those jobs, I wouldn't have had the opportunity that I had in the early stages of my career. And I think that they still continue to be a huge part of the economy. If you look at how many people work for big tech companies, how many people work for government, how many people work for large industries, the majority of Nigerians, and it is the same in almost every country, the majority of people work for small businesses. And the more you're able to build small business establishments to create jobs, the more there will be jobs in the country. So that's one that's also really important to us. And I think the final part around the clean energy transition, I think for us, we're kind of uh, putting our bets behind 2 key technologies. One is battery electric vehicles. So we are working hard to deploy more battery electric vehicles across all vehicle types. So that's 2-wheelers, motorcycles, 3-wheelers, tricycles, 4-wheelers, cars, trucks, and so on. Working with a variety of partners on the ground to actually source these vehicles. Obviously, a big change in that space really has been China's ability to deliver a cost-effective vehicle platform at prices that Africans can afford almost. Obviously, EVs from the European companies can only be afforded by the really wealthy. And we need opportunities for all the people to access that technology, and China is providing a great opportunity for that. China, India as well, providing great opportunities for those vehicles to actually come through. But even then, those vehicles are still expensive, and financing those vehicles is still going to be a really, really big part of the transition in mobility going forward. And finally, is the clean energy infrastructure to actually power those vehicles. Right? At the moment, Nigeria's power grid is barely hanging on, has been doing so for decades. Lots of investment and work obviously been done by many companies, the government, but I think there's a lot of work for PPI projects that can add more renewable energy mix into that pool, and that's some of the key part that we're also working on. To be honest, for us to be able to fully implement this kind of technologies effectively, we need people who are experts across. You consider it to be a wide variety of skill sets, but across certain technologies, right? So agricultural technology, fintech, renewable energy, data science, keep talking about the data science. Every business now generates a crazy amount of data, and being able to use that data to properly predict business trends and understand what's going on in the business is really essential. I mean, for example, Max just, I think in the last year or so, we just created our entire e-mobility division. And we have a lot of really, really experienced experts across battery technology, across electric grids, across what's it called? Electric motors. We're building this team internally, adding more skill sets to that team to make us better able to actually effectively deploy e-mobility solutions across the board. So I think if you look at these sectors, these are kind of like the sectors you kind of need to have skill sets in. I can't go down to the actual individual skill sets because that will be here for a long time. But for example, and just show you the wide variety of skills you need. Um, we need people who understand the chemistries of batteries and are able to support deployment of large amounts of batteries to all kinds of vehicles across all kinds of battery technologies. That's chemistry. That's a very technical skill. That's, it's not extremely popular. At the same time, you also need engineers to write the software to actually run the platform where these vehicles operate. You need people who have electrical knowledge to be able to actually support the maintenance of these large vehicles, because again the skill set for supporting internal combustion engine vehicles does not all translate to supporting EVs. There are new technologies that you need to be able to work with, and that's another key part that in this new skill set that will become really important in Africa in the coming decade as more EVs begin to come into the market. You will see a lot more need for those skill sets. So again, there's going to, as Fahintolu said, there's going to be a lot of upskilling of existing people in the space to be able to support a lot of these technologies. But there's also a lot of room for people to actually make a transfer into those spaces by getting those required skills and making a transfer to those sectors.
Definitely huge potentials. It's really remarkable. So from what you're saying, like the potential is limitless, right? And all we're not just I love the fact that we're not just like tech centric, right? All anybody, like the potential is limitless, and anybody really have the potential to be successful in their career. And from what you were saying, you have a lot of opportunities for agro startups. People, you're looking for people that have tech-driven approach to solving challenges in their economy, in their environment. People big in renewable energy. It's just so it's just so
Yeah, it's
profound.
amazing.
You
There's so much going
engineers,
on. Yeah,
even though
and
you ran away from engineering practically.
and I'm back there now. The key thing I really wanted to emphasize really is for when you mention technology, when you use the word technology, the vast
Mhm.
majority of people automatically assume computers,
Yeah,
and
software
that isn't
engineers,
really, yeah,
developers.
engineering. Yeah, technology is essentially the advancement of new innovations in any
Mhm.
space. So technological advancement does affect a wide variety of spaces, and not just engineering or computer engineering specifically.
Yeah,
We are able to build better roads. We're able to have better stuff in healthcare simply because of the advancement of technology as well. So
yeah.
to remember that when we talk about in technology, there's a lot that's in there.
Yeah, definitely. I would have loved to ask some more questions, but we have only 5 minutes, and we're always keen to time. So what I'll do, I'll just take one more insight from each speaker, and I'll be going to Mr. Fehintolu. Mr. Fehintolu, what charge would you like to give the audience today? You're muted again.
Sorry about that. Yeah. So the charge is very simple. And it's really around finding ways, in which tech can better improve the outcomes for your job, right? It's super important for both your current job and for future jobs, right? And I'm going to be dropping the prompt in the chat after I speak now, that we can all run, right? I really love what ChatGPT and other bots are doing, because they are giving you an opportunity to have an advisor, so you can talk to, without having to pay so much for it, right? So my charge is going to be very simple. You need to look for skills and tools too in your field that it will supercharge your career, both for your current job and for your future too, because everyone has a career path they hope to push you down the line. So my chat today is to leverage AI to further get to that, right? And yeah, you have all the tools out there today. Most of them are free. So no one has any excuse now on not being able to improve and grow their skill sets and ultimately get a better career down the line.
Thank you very much. And
So
what would you say to organizations who prohibit the use of ChatGPT and other AI tools?
yeah, so if it's for personal development, no one can stop you from using it for personal development. So my advocacy is more on the personal development side. It's up to the company to determine if they're going to allow AI within the office, right? I would advise every company to implement AI policies. It's very, very important. So we did that in Great today, right? But personally, you have no limits. You can ask ChatGPT, Gemini, anything you want to ask, and so it's going to give you in most cases, an unbiased answer. So my focus is personally for everyone, right, to ask, while you can then suggest this to your organization and see if they're going to go about it. But for organizations generally, I will advise you to have some AI policies in place, even if it means restricting some parts of it, which is fine, but at least have an AI policy in place because it's going to be a very key part of the future for both individuals and organizations down the line.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Femi. And over to Mr. Femi, your charge for our audience, or to our audience rather.
Um, I mean the very simple thing. I think I don't want to confuse the matter by giving too many charges. We already have one from Fenito, so I think everyone should go do that. But I think just be open to learning to learn new things. I think 5, 6 years ago, very few people would have been able to predict how large language models like ChatGPT, like Gemini, um, have been able to change the landscape of work. Um, and 5, 6 years from now, we're not really certain what's going to be happening then as well. So I think be constantly learning, be constantly consuming information, evaluating what opportunities are out there. Um, these tools at the moment they are just that, they are tools. They can be effective, they can be useless depending on how you use them. So again, having great policies around that is really important. I know some companies restrict the use for data security reasons, and that's valid. That's their prerogative. But as Fahim said, like for personal uses, it does have quite a bit of value. But I think what I would just say, in addition to what Faith was already said, is just to be constantly looking to learn. Whether that today is knowing how to do prompts properly, it is a skill that you can learn how to have the right prompt, something that you definitely need to be able to learn. Or just all the general skills like that you can learn. There's the part that we never really got the time to discuss the importance of interdisciplinary skills. People who are less of specialists and more of really highly skilled generalists. That is a very big trend right now, where you have a large number of skills. I know people use the anecdote, jack of all trades, master of none, but that phrase is actually incomplete in that particular statement. But having a wide variety of skills does have a lot of value to provide context when you're doing work. And so if you've worked across various industries, that is one way of being experienced across various things. And so be more open to opportunities to learn. You might be surprised where the next learning opportunity might come from. Just be open to learn.
Thank you so much, Mr. Femi. Mr. Femi admonishes us to keep upskilling and a bit of everything, so you're not left behind, right? I mean, I wouldn't want to drag the meeting on. It's already 6 o'clock, and Mr. Feitolu has dropped the prompts in the chat box. How can I leverage AI and other emerging technologies to enhance my career in, let's say, programs management? What specific skills should I focus on developing, and how can these technologies create new opportunities for career growth or innovation. And with that, I'd like to say a big thank you to our speakers for today. It's been really exciting, and I personally have gained a lot from today's session. It's such an honor. Thank you so much, Mr. Feyitolu, and thank you so much, Mr. Femi. And we do wish both Max and Cred Powell more victories and triumphs in the years to come, and we look forward to celebrating you. And we want to encourage you to keep on doing the amazing work you're doing, especially in the continent of Africa. Thank you so much. Just before we go, I would like to announce the Agri-Innovation. We're having the Agri-Innovation event, so you might want to go register that if you are an agro startup. The Ministry of Agri has decided to give 100 million grant to those who have ideas and solutions that would better agriculture in Nigeria specifically, and something similar to what Max is looking forward to doing in Nigeria and the continent of Africa. So you can just go over to Agri-Innovation website, just search for it and register, and the team would reach out to you. Thank you so much. Such an honor. Until we meet again next month. Thank you, everybody. Bye. We do hope you learned a lot from today's session. Thank you to our special audience, both those watching us from YouTube and those who have been live with us right here on Zoom. Thank you so much. Till we see you again. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.